All right, welcome back. Let's do a update. I wanted to see what the market does the rest of last week and this past weekend. Today, by the time you watch this, it'll be Tuesday morning or Tuesday night whenever you get around to it, March 22nd. Futures are up right now. All right, first of all, not financial advice. Consult your licensed financial advisor. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I could be wrong. I'm not always right. This is more of entertainment purposes and just my opinions. If you don't invest anything you're not willing to lose or lose sleep over. And you guys know the drill. Alright, I'll look at charts. Then we'll go into the news. So gold dropped. I was anticipating that. I think it's going to drop some more, possibly. Kind of depends on what oil does. And with the current sanctions on the Ruskies, they're buying it up. So are their citizens. And possibly other nations. Because the Saudis kind of went off the petrodollar, which is really, really bad for the US. And this is gold in the center here on the bottom. Dow Jones up top in the center on the left. On the left here, actually should be the S&P 500. See where that is. All right, so there's been a bounce for the past week. Monday closed green. Maybe today will be green. But there's a lot going on. Not what I wanted. Yeah, it is actually. No. Oh, you guys don't want to listen to that. Although, it's Z reset, right? One has to wonder. A lot of big things have been happening in the past couple years, one after another. Don't get demoralized, because that's probably the plan, besides excuses for taking down their own system. And their own system was going to crumble anyways. They're just trying to, I don't know, hold on to power as it all falls apart. And to what extent is everything pre-planned? I don't know. It's above my pay grade. And this guy's just like the PR guy for him. But let's talk about this. So, visa restrictions on China officials. And they were begging them earlier today, or yesterday, I think today, Friday, I don't know, past recent days, to back off and not support the Ruskies. So right there, guys, I mean, escalation. Goldman Sachs economists now expect the Fed to raise interest rates by 50 basis points at both its May and June policy meetings. By the way, they raised 25 basis points at the last meeting. Big deal. It's hardly liftoff. I thought they might do a 50 basis point, which is 0.5%. They might do. They might. Another thing, everything's kind of lining up, right? The Fed raising interest rates is gonna dump the market. Okay, the yield curve is flattening. It's already flat. I'll show you. But they need an excuse so people don't, realize that's the reason why. They could say, "Oh, look, it's because of world conflict," and that's under the assumption that it's all planned. Like, they all get, like, every nation gets around the round table. To what extent that happens, it does happen, but to what extent are other empires just taking advantage of the West's situation here? I am uncertain of, but they are doing it, and I think they are doing it for themselves. Like, I don't think they want to really be a part of, let's say, the super ruling class of the West's global dream. That's not gonna. The more they push, the more it falls apart. Ironically, that's why I say the snake eats its own tail, because it legitimately does. But in the meantime, we're all gonna go through some serious pain until, I don't know, until we hit some sort of crescendo. So in the meantime, let's just, let's get through this. Hopefully not in financial ruin. So will they raise 50 basis points on the next meeting? Goldman Sachs Group economists now expect the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates by 50 basis points at both its May and June policy meetings. If they do a 50 in May, I doubt they'll do a 50 in June, because by June, the economy's scorched earth. Like, it's bad. And, I was saying earlier, if the market drops, that'll be deflationary for the economy, which is stagflation. So it's temporarily deflationary, which buys them more time for, let's say, elections coming up. That was before the Ruskies went in there in Eastern Europe, right? So this is changing the dynamics and the complexity of the collapse. The supply chains are pretty effed. They were very bad prior to this, but now it's gonna be really bad, especially if China makes a move or does something, right, with Taiwan. Then I don't know, it's gonna be bad. Like, no more going to Walmart, no more Amazon shopping. Like, most of the shit in the shop, like mostly everything is gonna be bare and empty shelves. If that escalates as well, but these are gonna take. I have a feeling it's they don't move very. The escalation happens, but it happens gradually. It's not gonna be just boom. Although that could happen, and the markets will completely tank, and I don't know. It's like grab your bug out bag or whatever, and head for the hills. But because at that point it's like gas is over $10 a gallon, national average, not just in Cali, and the economy can't. The U.S. can't handle that. Everything is so far in between. The distances, all the semi shipping and whatnot, just on time shipping, just he literally said that. If you're not on my Twitter, you're missing it. I retweeted this just because Yeah, unfunded liabilities is 162 trillion, but that was like the same number from like 2011. So it's probably higher. Or maybe it is 162 trillion now. It doesn't matter. Anything over 100 is impossible to pay off unless you hyperinflate the currency and then pay them off with worthless IOUs, right? So, and then there's this. You know, they're warning us about cyber attacks. And I've said that this actually really concerns me. I mean, I don't know. First of all, you don't know who's doing it. It could be anyone. Second, I think it's already been happening since 2020 summer. Um, and this is shitty because internet goes out. Well, if the internet goes out, that's probably very good for humans at this point in humanity. Which means if the power goes out, same thing. Probably good for a few days, you know. But after 6 or 7, there's no food, nothing. Like, it's just a lot of people in very dense populated areas. And that's a nightmare. And I remember when Trunk was talking about fixing the power grid was very vulnerable years ago. I hope they put in something so not because the entire grid for the U.S. is like it's 3 major grids. Texas is on its own, and you have the West and then the East. I don't know, guys. They every time they fucking warn us about something, guess what? It happens because they're conditioning essentially. And it's just wild. These amount of evil. Anyways, so in the meantime, let's take a look at the DXY, the dollar. Been strong lately. It's been testing 100 handle or slightly below it. Like, I think it's gonna break higher, only because I think, I think there's other empires out there who are opportunists right now. They hold all the cards because they have manufacturing and resources. They're not shutting off their own pipelines, and matter of fact, they're expanding their trade routes and pipelines, while we are doing the opposite. Right? They're energy independent. Yes, did they get cut off from the SWIFT system? So what? It's like an email service. Like, it's really not that different from blockchain. It's just spreadsheets that the banks have, and then one bank debits or credits the other, and the other one debits and credits the other. And they do that every day from a certain time, from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you could already see what happened, right? So they kicked them out of that, and now other nations they're still trading with other nations, and they have an alternative ready to go. It's really just a messaging system to keep track of debits and credits. That's all it is. Matter of fact, that's the entire global financial system. It's just keeping track of ledgers, of spreadsheets. So, short term, maybe the dollar does break out above 100, and that's because of escalation. That I think they're just pushing for. Our boy Blue, he's visiting Europe in a couple days or something like that this week. Probably planning some. And even if the dollar goes up and in the DXY, which is the dollar against other fiat currencies, temporarily or short term, that doesn't mean that commodities are going to fall and it's gaining value, because it's not. It's just a measurement against other paper, IOUs, or spreadsheet entries. But looking at this moving average, it looks like it is trending up. It's just, it doesn't matter, because inflation's coming from multiple sources. And what I mean by inflation is the real term is currency supply expanding while goods and services stay the same or decrease. We're seeing goods and services decreasing because people are getting crunched with high gas prices, because they're traveling less, they're not spending as much, and those hiring signs are only up for, like, low wage jobs, and no one wants to go to them because it's not worth it anymore. Manufacturing, high skilled labor, jobs like those, we need those. But because of all the regulations and the lack of opening up the economy, as in the terms of not shutting shit down like pipelines and just cutting the red tape, essentially. That's why I feel like this is all purpose takedown of the West. I swear. It's what it feels like. It quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. That's just all I'm saying about that for now. Again, prices are going up for multiple reasons. Supply chain issues. That's a big one. The inflation we actually experience now is from when Trump in 2020 was president, and it did that. They printed like 40% of all dollars in existence that year alone. We're just getting the tip of that iceberg. So when people blame Biden, technically it's not his fault that what we're experiencing right now. If we're experiencing inflation from 2020 now, okay, and just the beginning of it. So by the time we're experiencing what's happening now with the stimulus, although they did stop just right now, but it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, we haven't felt the full effect of all the money printing. Not even close. On top of the supply chain issues. Now, but they raised 25 basis points. That's because they're actually scared of inflation because it's so bad. 25 basis points is really just to lower people's psychological expectations. And it's not going to really do anything. If inflation is running, it's very simple, guys. They say it's running at over 8% year over year. Then it's probably running 16% year over year. So year over year, as of now, you're making 16% less money because everything costs more. But I believe it's gonna get worse, especially with gas prices, right? So technically, it's like getting a 20 to 25% pay cut. It depends what bracket you're in, right? If you're making like $500,000 a year, then it's not really affecting you all that much. But if you're making like 30,000, 50, even 70,000, it's affecting you. By the way, someone in the US making like probably 80 grand right now or 100 grand is like the equivalent of someone who made 30 grand in like the year 2000. I swear to God, like that's how bad it's been over a gradual decade. Anyways, that little 25 basis point rate hike's not going to stop anything. It's just, I don't know, just lower expectations. Like they're doing something about it. Anyways, if you look at the yield curve, it's the 7-year is above the 10-year. So was the 5-year. And the 2-year would be above it, and so would anything underneath it if rates weren't pegged to zero. So technically the yield curve right now is probably very flat or very close to inverting, if not inverted, right? Which is the bond market, the most important market, signaling that shit's gonna hit the fan. And this time it's really gonna be bad. Like this is the big one if it does happen, which it's probably going to. If they escalate shit globally, which other empires probably will, because they see weakness, they smell blood in the water, and yeah. And then the current ruling class in the West could blame it on them, and then just throw a bunch of peasants into the cannon fodder, and you have all the excuses in the world, right? For your globalized financial Ponzi going to shit. Here's the 10-year yield. Now, I made this a long time ago, like back in 2020 spring. I made these lines to represent when the market starts dumping and whatnot. So right here I put crash, right? I mean, if you look at where is it? Now let's look at the S&P 500. If you look at the S&P 500, not quite a crash, but pretty significant drop here from the all-time high. Nice 15% drop. This is a crash. What was this? You know what's funny though? I want you to notice something. Look at the size of this move compared to this move from the COVID crash. It's like 70 to 80% the size of the COVID crash. It's about 80%. But because the market, went into a, the bubble market went into a hot air balloon bubble, it doesn't seem that bad because it's falling from a higher level. I think we're heading to the two what is this, 3-day chart? Let's take it to the weekly. Oof. Yeah. I mean, it could easily get, the S&P 500 could get back to 3,600 if things escalate politically, right? Which would be another about another 18-20% drop from the current price. And technically, yeah, it would bring more deflation, right? People will feel less wealthy. They'll spend less. And prices will have to come down for everything. Cars, homes. Oh man, the housing market's already cracking. It's cracking. Mortgage rates are going up. So That's good. That's something to look forward to if you're in the market, right? If you're not, I don't know. But yeah, your credit score's got to be better, and you have to put more down, and that's just probably going to continue until they open up the stimulus faucets again, and then who knows. And honestly, like I've said this in my last video, even if they do massive, massive stimulus, all it's really probably going to get you is a nice giant bull trap. And then going into 2023, 4, 5, we finally get the big one, like the real big one. And then it'll look like the Wall Street cheat sheet. That's what I'm thinking. So this summer, I do expect that giant bull trap. And during this bull trap, I do believe commodities are going to go into a super cycle. All right, so you got to get prepared for that now and have your commodities stocked. But for now, for the immediate future, with shit escalating globally, another drop. Because war is technically, I don't know, I guess it's good for the stock market. But not initially. And especially with things escalating with China, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Now, the only question I have is, what are they going to do about gas prices and oil? They cannot let it go past $10. I mean, I guess do it. I mean, they'll see what happens. The pitchfork's going to come out. And the mob, I'm talking both left and right at that point, because imagine fat Americans starving. Oh man, and Europe's already starting to feel that. So I don't know, nuts. Anyways, the 10-year yield right now is at 2.33%. I'm telling you, man, it gets above. Free market pushes it above 2.5. That should trigger it, and it's been, look at this rip. We're not that far off with the current trend of the moves. I mean, this could happen by the close of tomorrow. This is a daily chart of the 10-year yield. Yeah, I mean, by the end of this week, if it's above 2.5, housing market's definitely screwed. Everyone's debts are going to start coming due. Credit card bills, car bill. So imagine this. Imagine a world, if you will. Like over $5 a gallon gas. National average. Let's say 7 by summer, because people travel more and goes up anyways. And escalation. So escalation picks up. It could easily go to $6-7 this summer. Not 8. On top of that, food prices exploding because fertilizer from the Ruskies is being cut off. And if we imagine this, tensions escalate with China, right? That's even worse. It's more fertilizer and probably food they export to us not coming in. Although the U.S. can be independent with energy, food, essentially everything. It has everything it needs, but they won't allow it. They're trying to shut down farms. That's why I'm saying, like, this is like a controlled demolition. So imagine that, right? Like, stock market dumping, the cost of living exploding, energy, everything. Gas keeps going up, food keeps going up. Um, People are gonna start pricing in the never ending price increases. And that's when inflation really picks up as expectations change. No matter, it doesn't even matter what the Fed does. They could probably raise it 3 basis points in the next meeting, and it's not going to stop anything. As a matter of fact, that'll just tank the markets, and then they have to do QE again, like next week after that. So yeah, man, I don't think they could do anything. I think they're just actually they can do something. Just open up all the energy in the US, take away all the regs, and let the free market do its thing, at least in the real economy. But I have no faith in them. Again, these people are they are no loyal to any one tribe or state or nation. It's just a den of thieves and psychos at this point, and mentally ill, and really old people who should not. There's got to be an age cutoff, guys, like 60 something. So, yeah. I don't want to be such a Debbie Downer. It'll be alright if you have real skills in life. So, here's Tesla. I was just looking at these. In the center is Arc Innovations, Kathy Wood, Facebook, called Meta now. Tesla, you would think, is like making new all-time highs with these gas prices, but it's not. It costs more gas to make these electric cars and to power them. And then it's even more rare, the rare earth minerals. Even Elon came out on Twitter, was like, listen, we need to we need to open up our oil manufacturing because it's also bringing up the prices for all commodities, and it takes a lot of commodities to make these EV cars. There is EROI, like energy return on investment. Everything in this world runs on oil, you like it or not. And guys, it's dead trees and plants. It's not dinosaur bones. It's just dead trees and plants. Then they, over thousands of years, went into the ground and created pockets of deposits, and they just have to drill lower and lower or further down into the crust. All right, so Arc Innovation. Yeah, it's done. Look at this little tiny dead cat bounce relief rally. It's done. Yeah, this thing's gonna blow up. It's gonna take the market with it. It'll be like a Lehman moment. Look at Facebook. It makes a new local low, or let's say goes below 188. It's dunsies. It might bounce again and then create a giant head and shoulders. Who cares? Who's still on this? Right? Who's gonna plug into the matrix? Neat bugs. Maybe a lot of city dwellers will. That's fine. And then but I don't think it's gonna work, guys. The metaverse is you're in it right now. You're listening to me and watching me. This is it. And this is the best. This is the best it gets. until I'm gone, right? Until they cancel, right? All right. So here's like crude oil futures. I've been looking to buy the dip. I didn't buy this dip because I think they're gonna push it lower somehow. I know they're manipulating this shit, or trying to, on the markets, the paper markets. If there's any manipulation, it's down. That's what they're trying to do. Probably gonna pile on a bunch of shorts and get it back down to 100. But at some point, I mean, if here's the thing, there's unintended consequences of everything that the managerial class does. So the more they do, the more things break everywhere else. And then they try to manipulate that, fix this. And the more they try to fix everything, the more damage they cause. And we're just all going, this ship's sinking, right? It's like a mouse in the hull of a ship, and they're trying to catch it with like a shotgun, and every time they shoot at it, they're blowing holes into to the to the ship's what's it called, hull. All right, my analogies, man. All right, here's all the markets. S&P 500. This is daily charts. It's trying. It just tested the 200-day moving average. I believe it'll get rejected, and then again, we'll see what happens geopolitically. I mean, maybe the Ruskies just take it in the next few days or weeks, and that's it. That's done. And honestly, that's what I'm hoping for. So this is just over with and done. Stop escalating. It's not good, right? And we have a peaceful summer at least, and then they'll do their thing. Probably next fall and winter after elections, they'll ramp up their the reset, the new world orders, which Biden actually said today. He literally said it. It's on my Twitter. Let's look at the NASDAQ. Because this should get hit the hardest and it is the weakest. Because, the stay-at-home stocks and all that BS. Yeah, that bubble's popping now. And there was a bubble prior to that. Yeah, it's on resistance right now. You can make a line right here. There's a lot of points of buying and selling and price touching one area around. Let's move this a little higher. 1,400, 14,000 on the NASDAQ. And then and it's similar to the S&P 500 200-day moving average. Rejected, because this is pretty much a bull trap, like relief rally. Not really. Yeah, it's a relief rally in a bear market, like return to normal. That's what they're thinking. And if you pay attention, here's a little death cross right there on the daily. So, and when the price, this is actually normal for the price to trade up into the death cross and then boom, right back down. And then further down we go into bear market. Because look, my blue lines have been violated, very important. And once the price does that, and it falls significantly lower, I mean, it's done. It's it's a bear cycle after that, especially on the daily and the higher time frames. So if we go to let's go to the weekly. Okay, we haven't broken the blue line on the weekly, but what have we broken here? What moving averages? Well, the 100-day. Yeah, so if we break it again this week, which I kind of suspect because of escalations, it kind of depends on that really right now, unfortunately. And then it'll just drop to the 200-day moving. There's just straight air right here. And then it'll drop to the 200-day moving average around 11,000. That'd be a perfect bounce. The Fed will stop raising rates. They'll blame it on Russia and China, and then cyber attacks or whatever the fuck they're gonna do. And then we get that giant bull trap. Just a kind of like a little V bottom, big bull trap, and then we'll see what happens. And by 2023 and 2024, the economy's been through so much, and the supply chains are so broken, and who the hell knows what's happening geopolitically. Boom. That's what I'm guessing. As of now, subject to change, we'll see. But that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Let's take it on a shorter time frame real quick, and then we'll look at the news. 40-minute video already. Let's take it to the 12-hour. Oh, we did have a 3 candle for the TDI. That's bullish. Technically, should go to a 9 candle in the shorter time frame in the next few days. About 6 hour looks like it's ready to sell off, which makes sense for the 12-hour because the 4 and the 5 tend to bounce around a little bit and then it goes higher. So interesting. What about the 3-day? That's weird. I got a 9 sell on the 3-day. Technically, it should be a 9 buy. Huh. So, we'll see. I do expect the market to go lower, especially with these rate hikes. And listen, the economy in the US and Europe is pretty much in a recession right now. Okay? We are. And you could feel it when you're out and about. Like, just look at it. How much are people shopping? Of course, certain areas are better than others, but I believe just the fact that the gas went up, prices are so much higher for basic necessities and utilities, it's hurting people. The average American has like no savings. Although I did look at that one chart and it was like 1.7 trillion. Well, that's getting reserves are going down. They're seeing their savings drop. I'm not going back on everything I just said just because I see these purple on the heat map and we technically are. It really depends on escalation. The weekly is only on a 2 count, and if this 2 breaks down, it's done. Agriculture, though, awesome. And it's got a long way to go. And it's probably going to make new all-time highs in the long run. Other metals, I'm looking at argon, I'm looking at all kinds of stuff. And we're going to get that commodity super cycle for the next, like, probably couple years, if not 5 or this entire decade. So let's look at the news. So, see what I'm saying? U.S. unexpectedly sanctions China officials after hours of demanding Beijing condemn Russia. Yeah, and it's obviously a proxy war. Basically, Ukraine's just a battlefield. By the way, crypto goes down if the stock market falls further. They almost banned Bitcoin in the EU. It was close because of all the electricity it uses. See, I don't want to talk too much about this but they can hold out for a while because there's millions and millions of them fighting, right? And they're getting the high-tech weapons. By the way, this stuff always happens after pandemics, and then it's happened in the past. Pandemic, World War, and then small mustachio type dudes pop up. See, look at this. So, the sandbox, I feel like they're going to start becoming less divided. And if that happens, they become another major empire. And the future, as of right now, from the way I see shit in the West, with all these soft people, like mentally and physically, from the good old times, right? Yeah, the future just looks like the East. And man, like Americans think like people will never invade, right? Like the land. Yeah they can. Sure they can. Oh, but the nukes. Listen, I don't want to go into that again. It's not what you think. There's so many shipping containers. They can just fill them with little Chinamen, and then they'll just get on the coast of California, and all those people there will just off themselves instantly because they're already on the borderline. They're soft people, right? So, and these people will be ruthless, ruthless. Like, I don't want to get too much. I can't say things that I want to say, but because we live in a soft society, right? Feminine society. The pendulum is swinging though. It's gonna swing back. We gotta get, but the problem is the food's gonna get worse. No more meat. I'm gonna feed you bugs and soy, right? And lentils. So I don't know, guys. Like, people really need to fucking wake up. Like, most of you who listen to me don't do shit either. Like, when have you ever done anything to stop this? Like, I'm out there, putting myself on the line, saying at least as much as I can about what's going on and the truth, and we gotta steer the ship somewhere else because we're gonna hit that iceberg and we're gonna go under. It's just, I don't know. But don't be demoralized. Like, there's a lot of opportunity here, and the strong will make it, and they'll be all right. But I really do not want to live under the thumb of Eastern powers because they're not going to treat you like humans. Not that we're being treated well now, but they'll do it in a masculine way, like not what we're going through right now is actually not that bad compared to what we could be going through. We're gonna see shortages at the pumps. Because they're gonna try to. I've already seen someone post that they were limited on how much they could buy. So you're gonna own nothing. You're not gonna be able to travel. You're not gonna eat meat anymore. You're gonna be happy. The future. Okay, the great reset. And they really want the US and NATO to get involved. It's a trap. Because as soon as that happens, everywhere else, other countries are going to start doing whatever they've been wanting to do, right? And then it's a global event. And then it's going to suck. Really, really bad. So what else? I know you guys hate those dead silent moments. I do too. I'll say goodbye when I'm done. I have to read because I haven't gone through articles. I usually go through them and then I uh put up the ones I want to show you guys. But yeah. Okay, this article says we're gonna see a huge short squeeze in oil. I really hope not. And this is me saying that. Who knew this was all coming? Crime's gonna get out of control. What we saw in 2020, you guys remember that? I know everyone's memories are like goldfish. Remember when all the cities in the US burnt down? That could be just normal. It could be the new normal, you know? Because I think $10 a gallon gas is gonna bring that. Unfortunately. Because that means your food is so expensive. Although, on the bright side, this will force people to become self sufficient, like it or not. And in the very long term, if you survive all this hardship, and you will probably be, fine and happy. And all the corruption and the evil people, they're essentially. I feel like they're kind of like digging their own grave because at some point everyone doesn't care and they come together even temporarily because life sucks so much, you know. Um, and this is, by the way, I believe, kind of like just a bigger event from the previous, because the previous thing that happened, right, the wicked cold season. I think a lot of people were tricked into putting something into them that's going to make them very ill in the future. Although, don't believe that if you got tricked, Just drink water, exercise, and eat as healthy as humanly possible. You'll be fine. But I do think a lot of people, unfortunately, will fall victim to that. And I tried warning people as much as I could, but hey, no one listens. I probably don't get out to the masses anyways because you know, the algos. 3,000 Canadian Pacific rail workers strike as fertilizer shipments grind to a halt. Eh, I doubt it. I think that's just a cover story for the global supply chain and the sanctions back and forth, right? Disaster heat wave for this summer in the U.S. Interesting. Powell's bluffing, guys. He's not going to keep raising rates. Maybe 150 basis point hike in May, if he could get away with it. And the only reason he's doing that is so he has something to cut next time for the next crisis or whatever. Because we're going to be in a decade of crises. I think that's good for now. I'm trying not to be so, you know, dark, but I'm not doing this, guys. I'm just being realistic about it, warning you, trying to save myself and everyone else I can. Anyways, join the private group. Private group. It's 49 bucks. one-time fee, and then 20 a month. You guys are interested in commodity stocks and crypto, and just bullshitting in a private group with a bunch of people. We have live group meetings. I'm gonna do that where everyone could talk and whatever. We'll chat about whatever, and brainstorm. And I will do that. I'll do one Wednesday. So go to my website. Links below this video. And go to all my other social media sites and free groups and whatnot. I'll see you guys next time.